the music off. What's up? It's been a few days or a few weeks, maybe even since I've done this. I didn't forget about it. I didn't give up. Um, I was just doing other stuff. Just was busy. I went to France. El Creth, yo, what's up, man? Let's go. Yeah, let's go. I'm not sure how interesting you're gonna find this, but cool to see you here, man. Thanks for joining. Um, yeah, lately I've just been streaming some photo editing stuff. Um, and yeah, I just took a couple of weeks off because yeah, I went to Switzerland and I went to France for a few days, and then after that, I don't know, I was just winding down and getting back into work and stuff. And I did do some more photo editing, but I didn't stream it. I've been starting some design stuff as well. So I've mentioned before on the stream, and I think I mentioned to you, Elk, that I'm working on a drum machine with some friends. So I caught up with that friend on Tuesday, and we did some. Not much, bro. Oh, sorry. By the way, the comments will be a little bit delayed. Like you when you write, like I don't know how to fix the delay, but um, yeah, it's hard to get the comment in like when you want it to. Doing well here, working on synthwave tracks. Wanted to see what you're working on. Nice, man. Good to hear. Yeah, it's cool that you've been working on music. I saw the videos you posted on the forum, the Mod Devices forum. Super cool stuff. Um, Not a problem. Just a slow typo, lol. No, I mean I think even when you press enter, it's probably like a good 10 seconds or something before I actually see the message. So yeah, it's a little bit tricky in that sense, but I don't know what I can do about it. Um, what was I saying? Yeah, so I met with my friend who were doing this drum machine project. Um, we what we have done is we sort of made a brief. Um, we decided what things we want to have in the product, I guess. So what points do we want to hit? Like it's going to be a tabletop device. Interact with it with your hands. Lots of different sort of, you know, criteria, I would say, but not like constraints. Like we're trying to keep it fairly open, but also like points of what direction it should go into. So yeah, I think we did a pretty good job of like describing what the goal of the project is and what the direction is. And we started doing some ideation. So we were thinking about different interaction elements, like what kind of controls it should have and what kind of things you should be able to control. So it's a bit of a combination of like UX design and product design, but just sort of keeping it open at the moment and trying to figure out what we want this device to do and what we want it to be. And I think we'll meet again on Tuesday and try to actually start sketching stuff, like drawing basic mock-ups of what the device could look like with different types of layouts. We know it's going to have a display. We know it's going to have some kind of control elements for effects and stuff. It might have some playable elements for playing rhythms. It might have some looping controls, those kinds of things. What size dimensions are you looking at for the drum machine? I'm super interested in it as I'm no longer own a hardware drum machine and will be looking forward to. So in the beginning, what I said to Yessa would be to, Yessa is the guy I'm working on it with, you probably know him from Mod. What I said to him is I think we should aim for like something that's pretty big but can still fit in a backpack. So like, you know, vaguely this kind of size or smaller. We don't want to make it tiny. Like it should have all of the space that it needs for everything you would want to do. and yeah, we're not going to limit it with the size, but initially he was kind of like, yeah, I don't want to restrict it yet so that it's like backpack size, like maybe we want it to be bigger. But when I met with him again on Tuesday, he was like, yeah, I think probably fitting it in your backpack is nice. I just don't want to make it a hard constraint that like it has to fit in a backpack, but I think that's a good size to aim for. I'm gonna have to fight for desk space. Yeah. I mean, we don't want to make it bigger than it needs to be. So, um, yeah, I mean, it's very easy to have feature creep, like to let something get more complicated and more include more things than it needs. Um, I mean, some people might say that about mod devices as well. Like in some senses, they can do so many things that it almost becomes harder to find a way to use it because you get like option paralysis, I guess. Um, or at least for some people. Like some people really make the most of it, and some people it's really daunting in the beginning because it can do so much stuff, and it's like, um, what should I do? So yeah, with this drum machine, I guess we want to be careful that we don't keep adding things and being like, yeah, it should do this and it should do this and it should do this and it needs to have this button and this control and this button and this, and it grows and it gets um to be something that's so overwhelming that like it feels like too much mental maintenance, I guess, just to remember what everything is doing. I guess the goal is to try to make it so there's not so much cognitive load when you use it. Like it, we're inspired by real instruments, um, like a guitar or a drum kit or something. When you learn to play those instruments, limitations inspire creativity. Yeah, that's right. Like, it's smart to have it as focused device. Yeah, yeah, I totally agree. Um, like it should do what you want it to do really well, and it should allow you to do it in a way that isn't too difficult or too. It shouldn't require too much cognitive mode. Like you should be able to get into a um, a flow state when you're using it. Um, like when you play an instrument, like if you play guitar or drums or any other sort of traditional instrument, um, when you get comfortable with the instrument and when you are playing something that you've played many times before, um, it sort of just comes out of you like riding a bike. Like you don't have to focus so much on it. It doesn't require so much cognitive load. And Yessa is a guy who's he's a power user of the Electron Octatrack. Like he's a wizard on that thing. But even still, like, and he's been playing it live for years and years and years. But even still, he talks about the fact that it's such a high cognitive load to use the Octatrack because there's so many things going on, that you can't sort of just chill and play it. Like you have to be thinking, you have to be so mentally present while you're doing it. And maybe you don't want to just play the Octatrack. Maybe you want to have the Octatrack going and do some other things at the same time. So yeah, the focus is on kind of making it like natural to play it and make it as physical as possible and less mental. And also to make it kind of interesting to watch someone play it because, yeah, we all know that sometimes when people are playing electronic music or electronic devices, it's sort of like they're staring at a thing and turning knobs and it doesn't really look like they're doing anything or it's not so interesting. I feel like I'm always learning new stuff and I rarely get in a groove with anything. Yeah, it really takes away from making music. I struggle with my mod stuff most due to the UI. Yeah, I think just because, yeah, I mean it's very easy to to end up with a really complex setup, um, that allows you to do so many things, and it's definitely appealing for like an individual, like a one man band kind of thing, because you can do everything at once. But it does put a lot of extra cognitive load on you, and it makes it hard to keep everything in focus. Yeah, you're right. Like, I mean, what you've done with all of your setup, and you're always changing your setup too. So you're always learning new things, and you've made really good stuff with it. Um, so obviously you can handle, you know, having a lot of different devices going at once. Um, so yeah, I'm not saying like yeah, I don't think you would struggle. Um, but I understand what you mean. Like, yeah, it is a lot easier just to focus on one thing at a time. And probably, I mean, I guess you already do this anyway, but you've probably spent a lot of time with each individual piece of gear and got to learn what you can do with that and then put it all together. Hi, Lily. Hi. um, Lucky I don't gig at all. Sorry, Lily, just to give some background. I'm about to do some photo editing stuff, but also just talking about some design stuff coming up. Um, Luckily, I don't gig at all. I have everything set up and ready to go, but if I move it, it's a day of frustration. Yeah, so if you just are watching now, we're talking about music making gear and having to set up a lot of gear to make music. Having everything set up and ready to go, but if I move it, it's a day of frustration. Yeah. I mean, people who gig with those kinds of setups, like, it seems like such chaos to me, and some people even take each piece of equipment and they plug it all in on stage and stuff. Like, I would want to have a big box where everything is plugged in already. Yeah, it's a lot of work. But having it set up at home and making music and stuff like you're doing, I think it's awesome. I think you're doing a great job. But anyway, I should try to get into this photo editing stuff, but we can keep talking about the design stuff as well. But yeah, just to like finish that point. So the ideation stuff is happening on Tuesday. There'll be more, which I won't do on stream just because it's a lot of sitting around on the couch and talking. And after that, I'll probably start the first streams. Like, once we have a sketch where we're like, okay, this is basically how big the device is going to be, and we're going to have a display here and these controls and stuff. And this is like a starting point for we can make a working prototype and we can play around with it and we can see what works and what doesn't work. So once we have that kind of sketched, then I'll take it to the computer and I'll start streaming and I'll explain what I'm trying to make, and I'll start doing the CAD. I'll start actually designing the physical box for the, like, with the aim of prototyping it. So not mass production, but like rapid prototyping, whether it's 3D printing or laser cutting or, sheet metal, that kind of thing. So that's coming soon. Thanks, James. Slowly getting back. Lol. Show me the photos. I can DM you on mod. Yeah, you can DM me, or you're welcome to keep. We can keep talking about it here too. Like, I don't think it's a problem for the stream. Like, sometimes watching photo editing gets a bit dry anyway, so it's good to have another conversation going. But anyway, this is what I've been doing. This is where I got up to last time. This is photos from a trip to Italy. When was it? 2022. 2022. Yeah, June. So June last year. And I got up to this photo, but I did a few more. Like this is before, after. So I'm mostly just trying to like fix up lighting issues and not make anything look too crazy, but try to make it look like the way that it felt to me in the moment when I was there. You know, this is super dark and shadowy and stuff, but my eyes have much better dynamic range than my camera, so I can compensate a little bit. Maybe I went a little bit beyond realistic here, but I think it looks cool. I did some more photos that I'll just quickly go through. I did these off stream. This is all just like hiking through some villages in the hills in northern Italy. Yeah, some vineyards. It's Georgia being cool on our little bike ride. Yeah, Nonna's cat. This is a mountain called Monte Somana. We did hike that actually, but not on this trip. And I'm currently up to this photo. So this is where I'm going to get back into it. And yeah, Elk, if you want to hang around and keep talking, by all means, let's, because yeah, I'm just going to be editing, so. That's such a night and day difference. Yeah. I mean, the photos store so much information in the raw file, like you really can, you know, change things a lot. I've slowly been learning about photo and video editing, but nothing like that. Very impressive and quite a lovely photo compositions. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, I'm by no means a professional. I just do this as a hobby. Carry my camera around everywhere and, you know, try to get as many pictures as I can. And then Lightroom is pretty good. It allows you to do a lot of stuff pretty easy. Like you can sometimes just press this auto button and get a pretty good result, but I do change a lot as well. Sorry, I'm just gonna just 1 second. I did computer radiography for a while using 10-bit LUTs. It's amazing how much info can be stored in a single image. Wow. Radiography, like, is that for medical purposes? I never thought about the types of images that those machines would generate. That's pretty crazy. Aerospace. Ah, right. I think I'm picking up what you're putting down, because I remember you saying some things about your previous work. You don't have to talk about it if you don't want. I have a degree in inspection across a variety of methods, but radiography was my primary focus as a film interpreter. A film interpreter? What does that mean? I don't really know what I'm doing with these photos, to be honest. Like, it's a cool bike, but it's not that great of a photo. But this bike is like mostly made of wood, which is pretty cool. At least I thought it was cool. yeah, I don't know if this photo is really that interesting. It's a signature of the guy who made the bike. I guess he's Italian. I can't remember. But this bike happens to be number 60. Would you believe it? The guy who reads x-rays and finds defects in the material. I primarily worked on titanium engine and braking parts for Boeing, Airbus and the Department of Defense. Wow. That's hectic. Okay, so finding defects in the material, is that before it goes into an aircraft or on the actual aircrafts? Oh, I think they just added this new feature in Lightroom to denoise. But I don't want to save it as a new DNG, so I'm going to ignore that. Maybe I should denoise this one too. Yeah, she's pretty noisy. I just read a book about like the history of precision in engineering, and they were talking about Rolls-Royce engines in jet, like for jets, and yeah, some of the precision needed for those things, it must be crazy. Like, yeah, I guess if you have defects in like the jet road or the jet turbine blades, that would be pretty dangerous. Didn't know they x-rayed material though. Before I worked in a titanium casting facility, my job was to make sure they were up to standards, identifying and removing defects like incomplete fusions, porosity, shrinkage, etc. castings. Okay, so you x-ray the finished parts. It makes sense. Like if you x-ray an ingot of metal before it gets cast, it's probably not much use. Oh, Jesus. Fusions, porosity, shrinkage. Okay. Just trying to imagine. Incomplete fusions. I'm guessing that's like when you cast something and it has to go around a hole, and the metal, when it's pouring in, when it gets around the hole, it has to fuse back together. Just takes a bit of brain power finding exactly where the defect was in a three-dimensional part. I bet it is. Using a 2D image, using several hundred pieces of film per part. Okay, so it's like, I guess it's like slices. Like you're looking at different slices of the material in 2D planes, right? So you would have to sort of scroll through the layers while looking at different areas to try to find the defects. I'm struggling a little bit. This is a technical subject that I find very interesting, and I'm losing focus on the photo editing, but that's not a problem. Like, I want to hear the I want to keep it going. Incredibly stressful. Yeah, incomplete fusion is where the material may have cooled faster than the rest, causing structural weakness. I had a special stamp that identified me. If something with my stamp on it fails, I'll know about it at some point. Oh, that is a lot of pressure. Well, I hope that it paid well, because usually those kind of jobs pay pretty well when you have to put your when you have liability like that. That's a super interesting job though. God, just imagine like all the, like how much money goes into just making a functioning jet. How many people are involved? It's insane. Okay, I think I made that better. I got to get back into the speed editing mode. Also, was this straight? Yeah, it's pretty straight. About 50k a year, which was half the average income for my skill set. I'm much happier not doing that job. Some parts I inspected were like 10 years of salary for me. Jesus Christ. Are these custom LUTs you're applying? I'm not really applying LUTs. I guess I'm kind of creating a LUT in a way. Like, on the right, I just have all these sliders, and I'm just adjusting. So you have like the color temperature, the exposure settings, some effects that add like texture and clarity, color saturation, and I can change the color saturation individually per color. I can sharpen the image, reduce the noise. This is applying some lens correction, so it's like fixing the warping of the lens and also removing chromatic aberrations, which normally there isn't so much unless it's like tree leaves with the sun behind it. The edges of the leaves might be purple on one side and like green on the other side, so it helps to remove that a little bit. And then just some post-crop vignette, which is just like, you know, a bit of an artsy effect. Sometimes I don't use it. Half the average income for my skill set. That's pretty brutal. Did you know that at the time? This is very cool software. I've never worked with photo editors before, but it absolutely makes a difference. Yeah, I'm not going to deny this is very good software. My only problem with it is that it's owned by Adobe. And I've managed to get myself on another trial, and I think I just have to pay for like a month or something. But I'm really not into the idea of paying for it in the long term. Because I mean, I would pay for it for like a few months when I need to use it, when I have a lot of photos. But the thing is, they kind of lock you into year-long contracts, and the only alternative is to get a monthly contract that includes all of their software, and then it's like $90 a month or something, or $80 a month, which is, you know, I can get a professional CAD software for like $10 a month. Why should I pay $80 a month for one, like just to use this one photo editing software that I want? Yeah, for someone with my certs, the average income is over 100k. Jesus. Department of Defense offered me a position as a contractor for the Navy doing non-production inspection on our subs and ships. It was that after? Pay was 30 an hour to start. They offered up to 64 hours for a full move to Norway. Ultimately turned it down. $64 an hour. Well, let me tell you this, so you don't feel so bad about turning it down. I had a friend who moved to Norway to work in the petrol industry. He actually studied aerospace engineering, but he went and did petroleum engineering. And he was on a really good salary in Norway, but at the same time, Norway is a crazy expensive place to live. So in the end, he was barely making much money at all. He was on like an absurd salary, but just the cost of living there is crazy. I mean, he was probably partying and traveling around and stuff as well, but he definitely wasn't like raking in the cash. What am I trying to do? Trying to get rid of this color noise. It's not really working. Maybe I'll just hide it a little bit with the vignette. I turned it down for my family. It was a good choice, to be honest. I'm one of those veterans who doesn't support our military imperialism. I mean, yeah, can't complain or can't argue with doing it for your family, man. Like, that's number one. So, you know, probably the right move. Moving your family to Norway would be a bit of a shock and a lot of work, a lot of stress. And being away from the rest of your family, yeah, that would be hard. I mean, I've found it hard living away from my parents, but you know, I don't have kids or a wife or anything, so it's a lot different. I can't remember if you have kids. Maybe I'm assuming. Don't want to make too many assumptions. But yeah, also just like setting yourself up where you want to live. 2 teenage daughters. Okay, well, yeah. Then that would be definitely hard, moving to the other side of the world. So can't blame you for that at all. And yeah, I mean, getting yourself set up where you want to live long term, I think it's the right move. What am I doing? Kind of just been half-assing this photo, not really paying much attention. I think that looks cool. Should I rotate it a bit? No, I think it was good how it was. Oops. I'm absolutely envious of the European ability to just travel anywhere in the Union. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty great, like, to see new cultures and stuff all the time, but um I mean, think about it like this. Europe is about the same size as the United States, or smaller, and even has less people. So I think traveling wise and experiencing different cultures, like traveling around America, I would say is probably just as great. You just have less languages. um Maybe less history, like it's not, the history doesn't go back as far, but gonna live vicariously through your photos. Yeah. I'm just lucky that I'm just thankful that I got to go to like Russia and Ukraine and stuff before all of this craziness went down. Um, yeah, it's definitely cool to experience all these different places. Like, I'm mostly fascinated by um, like historical sites, and I don't mean, I don't know what I mean. Like places where really significant historical events have happened, uh, including ancient history, but also more recent history. But yeah, I love seeing architecture from, hundreds of 1,000-year-old architecture. Or I went to Chernobyl, which was like one of the craziest experiences. I mean, it wasn't that crazy. It was just like something really fascinating to see. Uh, I went to Göbekli Tepe in Turkey, which is like the oldest man-made structure that's been found, I guess, yet. Um, that was super cool. I love seeing stuff like that. It's kind of like Stonehenge or something. So yeah, it is cool to see, like, there's a lot of really old history here. Human history is, I guess I should specify. But I follow old Norse pagan religion, and I absolutely love exploring other cultures, both modern and ancient. Yeah, it's fascinating to me. Like, I'm super fascinated by human history and where we came from, and how we've changed. But there is rich human history all over the world. Like, in North America and South America as well. Like, I mean, in South America, you also have pyramids and stuff, which is pretty crazy. And even in Australia, there's like 65,000 years of Aboriginal people living there. It's just that because they were hunter gatherers, there's not so many like, there's no like buildings or stone structures or anything. There's like cave paintings and stuff, which is really cool. But yeah, I don't know. I'm a sucker for like buildings. That's why Norway was a big draw. My family immigrated from there back in 1915. Oh wow. Yeah, I actually haven't been to Norway. I've been to Sweden. Um, yeah, I would love to check out Norway. What am I looking for? Noise reduction. Have you traveled to Norway before? Okay, I'm just gonna start speeding through these because I don't really know what to do. Oof. The lights on this building behind us were way too red. How am I gonna do this? Subject. Yeah, the pagan religion I don't know too much about. I've just watched lots of like horror movies about like pagan cults, which is pretty cool concept. Um, is this making it any better? Whatever. Religion is strange in this modern era. I choose to believe because it at least lets me look at the world with a little bit of magic and wonder when I need it. Magic and wonder when I need it. Okay. Not you wonder when you'll need the magic. You're hiding some secret magic abilities from me. Or maybe you've been using them all along. Some pagan music magic. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know too much about the religion, if I'm honest. I'm not a terribly religious person myself. But I don't have any problems with religion. As long as it's not one that encourages like hunting people or something. Maybe that's what I should do. Or can hue shift the orange a bit. Sorry, just 1 second. I'm in the zone. I didn't believe at all for most of my life. The army gave me a chance to throw some prayers up. I bet, dude. Yeah, I'm lucky that I've never been in a so life-threatening situation or in a position where it felt like that I really needed to pray. Guess I've had a mostly easy life. I mean, do whatever. I think people should do and believe in whatever works for them. Wouldn't say easy, just different. Yeah, I guess. Yeah. I mean, I've I guess that like in the last year or so I've been through some tough times, or at least you have some idea of things that have been going on. Yeah, made smarter choices. I don't know, maybe. You don't know all the choices I've made. Yeah, I don't know, but I've never been in the military. I think being in the military is a lot more testing than probably anything I've done before. I've had a lot of financial stress though. Let's say that. I'm just glad we can still chat. I'm super stoked on your new project and I'd love to know more about TOEFL. I mean, TOEFL's good. TOEFL's going good. The problem is like, with mod, I was pretty free to talk about what projects we were working on and everything, because mod by nature was like very open source and they were very transparent with the community and stuff. So we were pretty much able in real time to like constantly be talking to the community about what we're doing. And yeah, with TOEFL it's not so much like that. Like I'm really limited in what I can say, which is, I don't know, it's a bit difficult for me because I like talking about stuff. Um, but yeah, I can only really talk about whatever you can see on the website, unfortunately. But that's why I'm really excited to be. Yeah, yeah, I'm enjoying working there. Yeah, yeah, for sure. Uh, I mean, it's more like consumer products. So, and they're not really trying to push the boundaries of innovation. So in that sense, it's a little bit less exciting, but it's a lot more stable. Um, and I can pay the bills, which is great. um, but yeah, I guess mod was a lot more interesting. Um, for one, like the product was interesting, but also like the financial situation was interesting. But they're doing better now. So after the reboot and everything, hopefully it's all good for them. But yeah, I'm enjoying what I'm doing. But I'm mostly excited to do this drum machine project because it'll give me a bit more of a chance to. Allow me to do something that I can talk about, and something that's a bit more like pushing the boundaries a bit more. Yeah, exactly. That's what personal projects can offer. Yeah, exactly. You were saying it before I even said it. Toyful is stable and has a big lineup. It's at least secure. That's exactly right. Like I've got something keeping me alive, something reliable, and yeah, it gives me the freedom to do some of my own stuff. Within boundaries, of course. Like I can't go and design a speaker on my stream because it's a conflict of interest. But as long as I'm not working on stuff that wouldn't compete directly with Teufel, and then everything's all good. Which actually, yeah, it's in that sense, it's probably a good thing that I'm working on consumer products that are like speakers, because if I was working for another company that makes drum machines, then I wouldn't be able to design drum machines on my stream. So in that sense, it's a good thing. How are the Teufel massives? I actually haven't used them. So I'm not too sure, but yeah, I'll get back to you on that. I had not considered the non-compete clauses. Lol. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's the thing when you work for a big company. I made sure to check everything in terms of like what they would be owners of and everything. So yeah. But yeah, the Teufel Massives. I'll check them out and get back to you. But from what I have heard, they're pretty decent. Like, one area where Teufel put a lot of focus. Like they might not put so much focus on like technological innovation, but they do good audio quality. So I imagine that they're pretty decent. Where was this photo taking? I dig the lighting and the scene. This is in a place called Marostica. I can show you where. Let me just pull up a map. Let me have a look. What am I doing? Italy. Vicenza Marostica. Yeah, it's this place. I think this photo was shot right here on these steps. So these are the steps looking down towards the square. I'm using V-Motor Studios, but after gauging my ears, they're uncomfortable to wear for extended periods. Yeah, dude, like these are HD 25s, Sennheiser HD 25s, and they're on ear, not over ear. And I just have them because I used to use them DJing, but they're not great for wearing for long periods of time. Massives look comfy with jewelry. Yeah. You know, I used to have both my ears pierced, and I stopped wearing the piercings purely because of these headphones. So maybe I should get some Teufel Massives as well. Yeah, it's not nice having headphones when you got earrings. Yeah, I don't know what I'm doing with this photo anymore. I think I've spent too long on it. Feeling on that. Definitely try them out and let me know. Yeah, I will. Definitely will. Can't remember what else I was going to say. Oh yeah, I was going to mention while I have my browser open, another project I've been thinking about working on. I was kind of inspired by this. I kind of want to make a mechanical keyboard. This guy has a GitHub project about a mechanical keyboard with optical switches. So maybe at some point, might do a mechanical keyboard as well. How did this photo get so blue? What the hell? Would also be interested in the keyboard project, yeah. Dude, so I use this keyboard and I've got a timer going for some reason. How do I get rid of this timer?